Good morning. No, don't clap for me. You'll have a chance in a second to clap for two really remarkable leaders and Taft students. And this is traditionally a time when we hear from the head monitor. We always have a talk early on in the year, first or second week. And just as an aside, I make a quick comment about leading at the school. I spent a lot of time on the road meeting with Taft alumni of all ages, men who graduated in the 30s to people who graduated, young men and women who graduated as recently as last year. I hear over and over again from them that in many ways the lessons they have in leadership, that is what they became and the ways in which they are leading today, whether it's intellectually or in the financial world or legal world or medical or what have you, many say, you know what, I learned how to lead at Taft. And I learned that as a captain or as a club leader or as a monitor or as a dormitory monitor or in informal ways or in community service. So I would just say to you, as you begin the year, whether you're a lower mid or whether you're a senior, think about the myriad ways you can lead at this place. And some of those are elected in public and some of them are not at all and yet have a disproportionate impact. So everybody at the school can lead, and the lessons you take away in the days you have here will stay with you forever. And I'm sure that's the case with Will and Story. I remember last year when we announced that they had won the election as the first time in the history of the school that we would have co-head mons. The energy in the room was palpable. I think it was for two reasons. First, we knew that this was the right thing for the school, and it was historically our time had come. And secondly, and more importantly, because I think the sense in the room was these are two remarkable leaders. They've already started the year off in great shape, and it is a real privilege, a deep honor that I introduce the two head mons of the year. So please come forward, Will and Story.
Welcome again, everybody, to Bingham Auditorium. It's been 2 weeks since I stood up here and welcomed all of the incoming students, and I'd say that since that day, we've made it off to a great start. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Story Viebranz, and along with OMeara, I'm one of the co-head mons of the school for this year. Most people have a basic understanding of the role of head mon. As a link between faculty and students, Will and I are often approached with ideas and suggestions that students wish us to pass on. Our position allows us to have a say in matters where student input is essential. However, based on some of the requests and questions I received from a few of you in the past 2 weeks, I believe there are quite a few myths about the extent to which Will and I are powerful. I'd like to start by clearing up a few of these misconceptions. 1. Before I even get started, my title is Head Mon for Taft, not, as a confused mother on move-in day eagerly thought, the head mom. 2, though some of you approached me legitimately requesting sunshine, as hard as it is to believe, I actually cannot control the weather on Super Sunday, or the weather in general. 3, I do not own a set of keys to every classroom in the school, and if I did, it would not be likely that I could secure individual copies for everyone who signed up for one. 4, as idyllic and lovely as this would be, Mr. Mack, Will, and I do not go on golf outings at the Watertown Golf Course every Sunday to discuss weird and secret things about the school. 5, my internet turns off at the same time as everyone else. 6, I do not have a Patronus, and if I did, it would not be in the shape of a rhino. 7, I can't wear sweatpants to school. 8, I cannot sign off your grades. And 9, I cannot get milkshake water fountains in every dorm. But here's what I can do. Will and I can still take your suggestions. In fact, we value them. We can work hard to plan dances that bring together the whole school and push the limits from previous years. We can tell Mr. Mack what you're thinking, and we can attempt to elicit change in areas such as sit down and Super Sunday, and we can speak on behalf of the school to welcome new students at the beginning of the year. Some of you may now be disappointed. The things Will and I are capable of have nothing to do with milkshakes for the entire school. It's a sad thought, yes, but also reassuring. Perhaps it puts you at ease to know that while Will and I are leaders of the school, We really do not possess far more power than you. You, the students, do not work for us. We work for you. A great many of the positive changes and new institutions that Taft sees every year come from all of you. Recognize the Rhino, for example, and the Saturday Night Out Club. These are additions that were products of your actions and ideas. That said, we all know that Taft has changed a lot in recent years. How about those automatic doors? But at the sound of... No, really, I love them. But at the sound of the word change, don't immediately turn me out, if you haven't already. I have more to say. After all, Taft possesses a great many traditions and customs that set our high school experience apart from other people. So when I talk about efforts to speak up and make a difference, I'm not just talking about change. Revive and reform old traditions. Turn special attention to pre-existing aspects of Taft that you think should be more recognized. The point is, Will and I may be the head mons. We may lead the school mons. We may live with the dormitory mons. But despite all of those titles, this year at Taft is a group effort. We were simply chosen to help guide the direction of this school year towards everyone's best interests. But you can help yourselves out too. Work a little harder. Everything isn't up to Will and I. We have hopes and dreams and opinions for the school year, but so do you. Clearly. Otherwise, you wouldn't have asked for milkshake water fountains. We have 7 months and 11 days of school left. I don't know if that's actually right. Get started. Think of something specific you want to get accomplished before the school year ends. You have 7 long months to do just one thing. And if you get stuck, Will and I can help you out.
All right, so you get the billion, but first you have to eat rotten tomatoes for the next 3 months of your life. What do you say? I'm going to run a staking out with the brothers OMeara, and you guys can head out for a quick swarm of the peas. Hello, my name is William Lang OMeara, and those 2 sentences are not questions we asked at Fast Friends for new students last week, or some type of code explaining the details of a military mission, but 2 of the many phrases I had to become familiar with this past summer. For those of you who don't know, I spent my summer working on an organic vegetable farm up the road in Washington, Connecticut. For those of you who do know, you've probably realized that my experience on the farm has provided a cornucopia of metaphors and stories for me to use when I write speeches. On Waldingfield Farm, not unlike Taft, I spent the first few weeks learning a unique vernacular of both farming terminology and bizarre slang. While at the farm, I learned that ops, as in operations, were jobs we had to do that day. New students at Taft must figure out the mystery of a walkback, figure out what woo is, figure out why my friends and I call the bathroom near the Harley Roberts room the Bellagio, and realize that the jig does not refer to a dance done by the native people of Ireland. I still see some blank stares up in the balcony. While the slang at a place like Taft is important, there is more to the learning curve than simply knowing the lingo. Any returning student can attest to the fact that learning the schedule, building a relationship with your physics teacher, or figuring out why you got 10 grades in one day is quite foreign at first. In the same way I learned how to properly hoe rows of lettuce or determine which tomatoes were ripe enough to pick, all of the new students will eventually learn the ropes. That is not to say that old students have it down, though. I find myself learning something new every day at Taft. For example, when did the meatloaf get so good? Anyway, as my comfort on the farm grew, I started to branch out, talking to new people and volunteering for jobs I had never done before. Hell, I even learned how to do donuts on an ATV and had a time trial race with some of the other kids on the farm while my bosses went to get coffee. While I do not recommend doing anything of that sort, I do recommend that you branch out in your own way during your time here. Get to know your roommates, classmates, teammates, and assembly buddy on a deeper level than just saying hello and goodbye. It amazes me to think back to my freshman year and realize just how many of my closest friends I never spoke to due to either my own shyness or silly social self-consciousness. Who says you have to play a sport every season or that you can't start the Taft Competitive Marbles League? Try out for the Winter Comedy, volunteer with the Police Activity League, or try to start whatever club you desire. Taft gives us so many opportunities in almost any field you can imagine. I urge all of you, especially the seniors up front, to take advantage of these opportunities and leave a lasting legacy on the school. My goal this past summer was to return to Taft with a decent amount of money in my pocket and feeling that I didn't waste my summer sitting at home and sleeping until 1 p.m. every day. Working on the farm not only helped me achieve these goals, but also gave me a simple and practical idea for coming back to school in September. Set goals for yourself. Academic, social, artistic, athletic, whatever. Set goals. Story and I spoke last night about trying to learn the name of everyone in this room, plus any student who might be studying for a Latin quiz up in their room. One of my goals for this school year is to be able to greet every student by name in the hallway. I advise that your goals be reasonable and that you don't beat yourself up if you fail. Failing is a part of Taft, and the safety net of teachers, friends, and other students is always there to help you out. I hope that the farm stories are not getting old, but Jed Borkin, the husband of Mrs. Borkin, a biology and enviro teacher here at Taft, works on Waldingfield Farm. One of my goals this summer was just to beat him at anything. The man is unstoppable. He took down 2 of my coworkers in a farming biathlon, is faster and more dedicated than most runners I know, and literally never complained about the hours of physically demanding work that I did all summer and that he does for the entire growing season. Though it was still a crushing defeat when I failed to meet this goal in any way possible, I learned just how valuable learning to fail at Taft has been. Going forward for the rest of the year, I cannot wait to see what kinds of things we have in store. This first couple of weeks has been amazing, and I can sense a trend for the remainder of the school year. I know that we can make this one of the best years at Taft, especially for the class of 2012. Go out and beat the learning curve, learn the slang, achieve your loftiest goals, and get to know everyone around you. I look forward to learning every one of your names. Thank you.